but there is always a balance between the two, and there is no plan without execution. At the end, is about the decision that is made on the moment and how good that execution is in relation to the decision. Otherwise, especially when you are attacking, there is very little end product.
And you mentioned that you're feeling sort of fire, and obviously your intentions going into Saturday were to help boost the atmosphere. In hindsight, is there a chance that by sort of making every game into a kind of cup final that it adds to the tension?
No, I never mentioned a cup final, but I think obviously the importance of every game, we know what it is. We've done the same in September, in October, in November, in the Champions League last year. I think the outcome of what you are trying to achieve at the end, or the success or failure, or your intention, is based on a result. And you have to accept that because this is football.
Tom, Football London.
Hi, Mikel. When a team loses, there's a temptation to kind of look at what went wrong, look at the mistakes, how can we improve those things. But is there also maybe an emphasis, instead of looking back on performances like against Bayern or Atletico and games where you've really dominated and done so well? And we talked last week about identity. So have you reminded the players really actually how good they can be?
Yes, and I try to do that as much as possible, especially in moments when they need to see that, because the first reaction, as you mentioned, is to look at the negative things that we've done that didn't allow us to win the game, but again, reinforce them, what they've done so well for 9 months to be in this position.
And obviously this is a big week with 2 huge games. Yeah. How challenging is it when you've got 2 huge games within that space of time to keep the focus on just the next one rather than both of them?
Well, I mean, the first one is that big and that important to get into the semi-final of the Champions League again, that there is no time to find a space for the weekend, that's for sure.
Ibrahim Bien.
Hi, Mikel. Pep Guardiola mentioned that he's doing well this period of time because of the sun. Why is the opposite in April, especially for Arsenal? Why this period of time? Always there is.
We love the sun as well, and yeah, especially. But then the sun, you have to win the games with the sun or no sun. September it was very sunny as well.
Second.
Mikel. Hi, Mikel. Yeah. You mentioned about being in the quarter-final for 3 years in a row for the first time. Have you felt the need to sort of remind the players a little bit about what they've already achieved? Because everybody's talking about the next few weeks and what they could do, but is it a useful moment to say to them, look how far you've come?
No, but I think what I love as well about where we are is that there is no satisfaction about it, and you haven't asked me any questions like, congratulations, you're going to be in the Champions League next year. Now it's like we take it for granted. So I am assuming for the next 20 years of this club, you're going to be taking for granted this, that you are fighting for titles in April, and c'est fini. That's okay. But it's difficult to do it. And I do value a lot what the players are doing, that's for sure.
Congratulations, you're going to be in the Champions League next year. I thought I should say that too.
Thank you so much.
Can I just ask you one about Victor Gyökeres? He after the game on Saturday, he mentioned that he felt the pitch was a bit dry. And I wondered if you felt that was an issue, and obviously that's something you can rectify at home.
After losing a match, I learned some lessons. And after losing a match, don't talk about anything else than this, because he's coming back. Thank you. It's a great question, though.
We'll go to Phil from PA, and then we've got a couple from Portuguese media. So Phil from PA at the back.
Hi, Mikel. Just sort of going back to what you've been speaking about how Arsenal are making history effectively with all these quarter-finals and top of the league. Do you think that the pile-on since Sunday has just been unfair and unwarranted, given where you are at the moment?
I love the dissatisfaction of that we want much more, that this is why we are here. But as well, we need certain perspective, especially the players need the perspective that where they are in the Champions League and in the Premier League, 14th of April. And that's a reality. And we need to embrace that, and it's supposed to be like this, because the higher you are, obviously, the bumpier it gets, and more demanding, and the line is thinner between being the best and being the worst is really, really thin, and you have to cope with that.
And also, presumably, I suppose there's an energy or a motivation to sort of prove those doubters wrong, the people that are, saying that Arsenal might not do it again.
The motivation is to give to the people that they deserve, they are with us, what they are looking for.